I'm not going to Duke in the fall. So basically, if you've watched my last video, you know that I was really stressed out about what to do this fall, whether to take a gap year, whether to do online school, or whether to go on campus to Duke in the fall. And I've finally come to a decision. So I will be doing my first semester remote here in Singapore and taking online classes at Duke. So this video will kind of be just me talking through my options and why I ultimately decided to stay here and do online school. So if that's not interesting to you, feel free to skip out of this video. It's kind of just more for me to like talk through my feelings, and also for anyone who might find this video helpful if anyone's making the same decision. So first off, I'm gonna talk about why I decided not to take a gap year. So actually, when all the visa stuff was happening with ICE and being really stressed out about like online school and what online school would look like, I really considered taking a gap year in the fall. I know that a lot of students, not a lot of students, but a lot more students this year are considering taking a gap year. And I even joined like a Duke chat with people who are taking a gap year. And a lot of them had really good plans, like they knew what they were going to do. They knew they were going to tutor people, volunteer, do some gap year programs. And I honestly like started looking for possible internships, possible jobs, and started planning out what things I could possibly do to honestly like enrich my entire gap year. Because my biggest fear was that I wouldn't be productive with my gap year and that this year would kind of go to waste. Yeah, so I looked up a lot of internships here in Singapore. I reached out to a lot of people, looked for part-time jobs, opportunities that I could do, but I just had this unsettling feeling in my heart about taking a gap year. I think that I'm definitely someone who likes to go full steam ahead at stuff, and I was so ready for college and so ready to step into this new chapter of my life that taking a gap year for me just felt like I was pausing all of my plans and kind of that I was holding myself back in a sense. And I know that that isn't the case for a lot of people, so I'm definitely not bashing taking a gap year. But for me, I just couldn't get over that emotional barrier of seeing my sister go into her first semester in college, or seeing my friends go into their first semester of college, and me kind of just taking this break and taking this year off. Yeah, so that was kind of my main reason for not taking a gap year. Another reason is that I think taking a gap year would honestly limit my options a bit because I was talking to my parents about it. And first off, a gap year is actually kind of expensive, especially like if you're living at home, and then if you're, because your parents or you will still have to pay tuition for the next 4 years after that. So if you're not working or making money and you're just living at home, it's actually an additional burden. So that was something I considered. But another thing I considered was that if I took a gap year, I would have less options to, for example, transfer to another college in the future. So this is something I definitely don't want to do because I'm really excited to go to Duke and have this experience at Duke. But we were talking about if this coronavirus continues in the US or worsens, or the immigration gets even stricter in the US, that after 1 year of doing online school, that I could have the option of taking the credit I get from Duke and transferring to another school, maybe in Asia. But if I took a gap year, then I wouldn't have that option, and even if I reapplied, which I think I wouldn't be able to, I would be applying with another competitive class, which is my brother's class. So that is the biggest reason why I'm not taking a gap year. That being said, I really think there are a lot of pros to taking a gap year, especially if you have a concrete plan, or honestly if you just need a break in this stressful environment. I know people who are taking gap years to pursue sports, and there are people pursuing gap years to learn more about their own culture, to take classes, to kind of just take a year off, take a break. There are people who are doing lots of internships and finding what job career they want to do. So if you're someone who's searching, or someone who's very stressed out about this entire situation, I think gap year wouldn't be a bad option. And then the next option was going on campus. So at first I wasn't really considering this option, because of the visa issue and not knowing if I would be able to get a visa. But I think they just released information that, at least in Singapore, the visa offices are opening on July 27th, so I would be able to get a visa to go to the US, especially since Duke is doing hybrid learning. But I was hesitant about going on campus just because of the logistical issues, the visa issues, and honestly just fear of getting coronavirus, which I know is like a worldwide thing, but definitely in the US and in North Carolina, the cases and the numbers are growing. The visa issue was kind of resolved, but in another sense, something in the back of my head is that the ICE, the Immigration Center of Enforcement, I don't know what it stands for, but ICE so easily made that rule. Students who were doing online school weren't able to be in the US. And of course, a lot of schools petitioned against it and filed lawsuits, which is why it was reversed, which is honestly amazing, because I know a lot of people who would benefit from that. But that just showed me how volatile the political situation is and how easily my visa could be revoked and I could be sent back to Singapore. And as a foreigner in Singapore, I'm on a dependence pass, so I'm not a permanent resident or a citizen. I don't even know if I can come back, which is a really scary thing as well. And then the other thing is logistics. I know a lot of flights to Durham were canceled, and just logistically, I would have to travel alone, and there'd be a lot of things that I would have to pack and like to order all the move-in stuff to find out like how I would get the stuff to move in, because I wouldn't be able to bring everything, if I'm even able to purchase stuff in the US, and like logistically, like if I got stuck in another country by myself during transfer, how that would work. So I think that's more of a personal fear. I know people who are strong enough to do that on their own, but I don't think I am ready to face all of that, especially with only 2 or 3 weeks left until school starts. And then the third reason is health. Coronavirus is a pandemic, so it is worldwide, but definitely compared to Singapore, which has around 10 community cases each day and 100 to 200 total cases each day, compared to the US. I know the US has a ton of cases, especially in North Carolina, and the number of cases are growing. Although I am in the healthy range where even if I did get coronavirus, I could probably get very good treatment at Duke with their great medical center, and I would probably recover. I know that there are people who have had lots of repercussions and after effects of getting coronavirus. And yeah, that's just something that I don't want to risk for myself and also for my family if I do travel back to Singapore in the winter. So honestly, like, I was very looking forward to going on campus, especially after housing assignments came out, because I was placed in Wanamaker, which is apparently one of Duke's best upperclassmen dorms, and I talked to a bunch of upperclassmen. They're like, that's an awesome dorm. I get a single room and everything, and it seems like a very tight-knit community. So I was really disappointed that I had to turn that down. But I think that considering everything, I think this is the best choice for me to do right now. So that gets me to my third point. So why I'm doing online learning here in Singapore. So I know if you watched my last video or like my past videos, how much I wouldn't say hate, but dislike online learning. I think a big component of that is that with online learning, I feel like I have very little motivation, and also without that social interaction of school and everyone studying together, it's very hard to study and like get motivated to learn. But honestly, after this summer of not doing school or any academic work, I'm super excited to learn. I'm super excited to take classes, to learn new information. And I think that on the motivation front, there wouldn't be an issue there. I also know that a lot of my friends from my school and a few Duke people are staying here in Singapore, so I really hope that we can come together and like study together or help each other with problems, ask questions, hang out, and have our own community here, which I'm really looking forward to as well. There are some concerns with online learning in terms of timing issues and whether I'll get the in-person experience, especially with seminar classes, because I'm in a focus program. But I think that all in all, I'll be able to overcome those barriers and have a really good experience doing online school here. And another reason I'm staying is because other than online school, I do have other plans. For example, Dimensions College Coaching, which I mentioned in the last video. We want to expand that in Singapore and worldwide, and I'll be able to have more time to work on that on the side. And by the way, we are having a free 30-minute college conferencing calls for anyone who signs up on our website, and that's limited for 2 weeks, ending on August 4th. So if you're watching this video and you're a rising senior, sign up now. It's like completely free, with people who just want to help you answer any of your questions about the college application process. So on a side note, I also started this home bakery business called somochi.sg, and I've had really a lot of fun doing that, just baking and selling my goods, so that's something I hope to continue. And lastly, I'm going to be doing a part-time internship here in Singapore. So in terms of keeping myself busy and doing productive things, I think I'll be able to do that here in Singapore. So ultimately, I made the decision to do online school here in Singapore, and it took a lot of contacting a lot of upperclassmen, talking to a lot of my friends, talking to my parents, but also a lot of prayer and waiting, and just waiting for that moment to be at peace with my decision. And I think that currently I am at peace with my decision. And I think that honestly, the world is so chaotic right now. There's so much uncertainty, which I easily get stressed about, and I know that maybe a lot of you are stressed about. But honestly, it's about seeing and taking things that are in your control, and honestly letting yourself be stressed, letting yourself have that uncertainty, but knowing that this will all pass, and knowing that people are in the same situation as you and people will support you along the way. So I hope that even if you guys are either in the application process or in a situation like me, that you guys find peace with your decision, and that you guys really just make the most of whatever path you take. Yeah, so that's my long spiel. As for the future of this channel, I'll be doing a lot of day in the life vlogs, even though it's virtual, showing you what orientation looks like virtually, what working in a startup looks like, and I hope you guys will stick around. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and put in any questions or advice in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. So thank you so much again for watching. That was kind of like a random video, random sit-down video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And see you guys soon. Bye!